Up next, an in-depth look at USC Women's Basketball team and their incredible season.
We meet the first male dancer to join the Trojan Dance Force.
I'm Avery Goodman, and I'm outside the Crypto.com arena where the March Madness continues on inside. More on that later.
March Madness moves on to the Sweet 16 this weekend in both the men's and the women's tournaments. Hi, I'm Louisa Tripoli.
And I'm Jonathan Martin. Before we talk about the Sweet 16, let's take a look at some of the stars who have shined brightest during the tournament so far. Arizona guard Caleb Love has been on an absolute tear, earning second-team All-American. Love could be destined for drama, though. A possible matchup is looming with his former team, North Carolina.
North Carolina State forward DJ Burns is the man who seemed to have captured the nation's heart with his large frame and bully ball play style. Burns has been the slipper that fits for the 11-seed Wolfpack's Cinderella run.
Her career has been marred by injuries so far, but this UConn guard, Paige Beckers, has shown what she's made of. She's averaging 30 points per game in the NCAA tournament so far.
Notre Dame freshman Hannah Hidalgo has been snatching turnovers and AP voters as she earned first-team All-American. She leads her team in scoring and assists and leads the entire country in steals per game. Like USC's Juju Watkins, those are some of the superstars that have taken their teams dancing into the Sweet 16.
The March Madness action continues here at home tonight with Sweet 16 games at Crypto.com arena. Reporter Avery Goodman is there live with the fans, and what are they saying?
Thanks, Jonathan. That's right. I'm back outside Crypto.com arena where fans are getting ready for the second Sweet 16 game going on here tonight. Number 6 Clemson currently leads number 2 Arizona right in there. And later tonight, number 1 North Carolina will go head-to-head with number 4 Alabama. In Boston, UConn is currently leading SDSU, and Illinois will verse Iowa State there later tonight. Fans have traveled from all over the country to root for their favorite teams. I spoke to some of them earlier today to see what they're feeling about March Madness.
It's really cool. It's just kind of nice to be able to participate as a fan and just kind of come out and feel the energy. There's a lot of energy, a lot of schools, so it's kind of cool to be out here and checking everybody out.
North Carolina is our team. We don't get to see them much out here in Southern California, so we're happy to see them in the West bracket.
It's really fun. I've never been here before. We came here just for this game. I believe it's the second time ever that Clemson has made it to the Sweet 16, so it's very exciting. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think they'll pull over Bama, and hopefully Clemson will pull over Arizona, so ACC matchup.
Tonight's games will determine who will make it to the Elite Eight. As you can see, fans behind me are super excited to see if their bracket predictions are right. Good luck on your bracket, Trojans. I'm Avery Goodman from Annenberg Media.
Joining us live from Houston is Rob Parker, a Fox Sports host, columnist, and professor here at Annenberg. Thanks for joining us, Rob. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I've got a couple questions about March Madness. My first one is, are you surprised that there aren't more Cinderella teams advancing?
Yeah, that's a good question because last year we had too many Cinderellas, and I think people weren't that excited about it. If you remember, the ratings seemed to go down as the tournament went on, and then you had a Final Four where San Diego State and Florida Atlantic was in the Final Four, and people really didn't think it was great. So I am a little surprised that so many of the better teams that are higher ranked have moved on and not the Cinderella.
Rob, thank you. And I've got to ask, you saw the fall off of Kentucky against Oakland early. What's going on with these Blue Bloods? Is the tournament better without Blue Bloods?
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky, that's a bad – John Calipari should probably be fired to lose to in that situation. But they've been disappointing. I mean, they're 1-4 in their last 5 NCAA tournament games, which is crazy with all the talent. But the Blue Bloods will bring the TV eyeballs and the ratings, even if they're not that good, because Kentucky's a big school and has a lot of alum and a lot of people who root for that school. So I think they're good for NCAA business, but it doesn't mean that they have to be there because we've seen the big ones go down.
And speaking of eyeballs and ratings, we got to talk the women's side. Everything that's going on over there. There's so much star talent. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and of course our Juju Watkins. How do you feel about the women's NCAA tournament right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hot. I mean, it really is. This is women's college basketball, probably at its height. It's unbelievable. Their tickets are selling more than the men's. They have women's basketball fever, fans do. And the big thing is, will they be able to capture this and have some momentum going on even after some of these other players move on? Obviously, Juju's just a freshman, so she's going to be around a while. So is this a fad? Is this a 1-2 year thing? Or is this really like something that's going to happen where people pay attention to women's college basketball as much as they do men's?
Last question, Rob. I've always wondered this, especially around this time of year, March Madness. The format is one and done, but is the hype around March Madness because of the one and done format, or is it just the sport of basketball as a whole?
I've always had this argument. I mean, I know a lot of people who love college basketball just think it's the college basketball that they love, but the single elimination is the best way to have a playoff because you have to leave it all on the table, all on the floor every night. And if you have a bad night, you get knocked out and you go home. So you're playing for all the marbles all the time. And I wonder if the NBA had ever adopted this. Would Michael Jordan have 6 championships?
Stop it, Rob. Don't even start that. But thank you again for joining us, Rob. Thank you again for joining us. Thanks again to Rob Parker for joining us. Next, we're going to another guest, Annenberg Media sports reporter Will Simons, who's here in the studio.
Thanks, Jonathan. USC Women's Basketball is having a season it hasn't seen since its glory days of the 80s, when the Trojans won consecutive national titles. Let's take a look back at their season. USC started the season with some hype. They were ranked 21st in the preseason AP poll after picking up top freshman recruit Juju Watkins. And the Trojans lived up to that hype right away. They went 10-0 in non-conference play, rising to number 6 in the AP poll by the start of the Pac-12 schedule. But the game that really put USC on the national radar came on the road at 4th-ranked Stanford in February. Juju Watkins dropped 51 points to carry the Trojans to an upset win. USC head coach Lindsey Gottlieb said this about her star freshman after that record-breaking performance.
I mean, all week I said, this kid is different. She's special, the way she takes coaching, the way she's a teammate, the way she holds herself accountable, the way she raises her level. So I did not predict this, right? No one could predict this. But I think that what is so special about her is everything like inside, and then obviously it came out today.
The Pac-12 tournament, on the other hand, was more about USC's trio of Ivy League grad transfers. They're affectionately referred to as the Nerds. One of those veterans, Harvard transfer Mackenzie Forbes, was the star of the Trojans' other victory over Stanford in the Pac-12 title game with 26 points. And now USC is a number 1 seed in March Madness for the first time since 1986. This past weekend, the Trojans picked up wins in the first 2 rounds of the tournament against Texas A&M Corpus Christi and Kansas, with the USC hosting both games right here on campus. Now this weekend, the Trojans are up in Portland. A Sweet 16 win Saturday over Baylor would get USC to the Elite 8 on Monday against the winner of UConn versus Duke.
For the 3rd season in a row, attendance at women's college basketball is breaking records. In the first round of NCAA tournament, nearly 300,000 fans attended, which is 60,000 more than last year's attendance.
Getting that exposure and giving them the chance to be seen, I think is really helping grow their, platform and reach. And I think people are kind of just starting to see that and realize that women's sports are legit, they still can play.
For USC women's basketball games, you can see dramatic increases in fans' attendance over the last 2 seasons. In the big rivalry game against UCLA, attendance jumped by 7,000. Total attendance for the season has increased nearly 4.5 times. TV ratings spiked as well. The Michigan State-Arizona matchup was the most watched game this year, with 5.8 million viewers. NCAA women's basketball tournament viewers are up 108% from last year.
I'm a big fan of football season, and I would say that the energy in the Galen Center matched that during football season. Everyone was super duper excited, super riled up. I think it was really special to see people get so excited about women's basketball, which historically has not gotten nearly as much attention as it deserves. They high-fived all of us at the end of the game on Monday, and I genuinely was on cloud 9 for the next 24 hours.
Here at USC, the women's basketball is top notch, and when you're the best at anything, I think that's exciting.
Women's college basketball is generating lots more hype. Right now, USC is leading the charge.
Now, Pickle Coleman is here joining us at the desk to discuss the women's Sweet 16. Pickle, let's start with the USC matchup. Do you think they'll beat Baylor?
Absolutely. I mean, this USC team has looked absolutely incredible. I was at the Corpus Christi game. I saw the Kansas game. I mean, they were a powerhouse team. You've got Juju Watkins consistently performing time and time again. You've got players like Mackenzie Forbes. They're also super strong on defense. I mean, USC is one of these teams that I've got going all the way.
And how do you feel about the UCLA LSU game?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously we know LSU won it last year. You've got Angel Reese. They're an extremely aggressive team. And not to be biased, but, I see those Bruins going down. USC beat them. I just don't see them making it far. I think LSU's got so much power over them. And obviously, they're ranked lower, actually. UCLA is a 2 seed to a 3 seed, but I still see LSU taking the win on that guy.
So you have USC all the way?
I sure do.
I do too. Thank you so much. Every year, March Madness brings a fresh opportunity for someone to be the first to have a perfect bracket. And every year, we all fail. I asked USC students what games busted their brackets.
Oregon losing in double overtime. I had them upsetting a 3 seed in Creighton. That was pretty brutal. And then I also had BYU in the Sweet 16, but those are really the only things I messed up bad.
I've been doing okay so far. Kentucky hurt me a little bit. I think I had them in my Elite 8 maybe, but that's really been about it.
I think Oakland beating Kentucky really threw me up for a loop because obviously small schools that I've never heard of don't usually win, and Kentucky had a really good team this year. See, I didn't have that many upsets this year. I did have Grand Canyon winning twice. They won once, so that was a nice little upset I had.
Gut-wrenching upsets are what makes March Madness March Madness. And this year, a 13th-seeded Yale has already defeated a number 4 ranked Auburn. On the women's side, 11th-ranked Middle Tennessee State knocked off number 6 Louisville. Heading into the Elite 8 rounds for both men's and women's, we will see if there are any more upsets to break brackets even further. The NIL era means that the star of both Blue Bloods and underdogs have a unique opportunity.
March Madness generates billions of dollars each year. Since 2021, college athletes have used their name, image, and likeness to make money. Thanks to NIL, athletes who perform the best get paid, like USC's Juju Watkins. Annenberg professor Mickey Turner shared her thoughts about this major change.
Juju Watkins, who has, I was looking at IG the other day, and all of a sudden I see her putting on this makeup, and now she's got an Estee Lauder deal. That's crazy. And she's got Mercedes and Nike. I think that combined with her natural talent has catapulted her to, kind of the top of the heap along with Caitlin Clark. I've always had my concerns about NIL as it relates to team chemistry, but it's been more of a positive. And because it's really elevated them to a level they might not have seen without these endorsements.
It's not just the major stars. NIL is also giving lesser-known athletes an opportunity to make a little money on the side. Last weekend, 14th-seeded Oakland University upset 3-seeded Kentucky. Oakland senior guard Jack Golke played lights out, scoring 32 points, including 10 three-pointers. Golke's performance helped him quickly ink multiple NIL deals with brands like TurboTax, Buffalo Wild Wings, Barstool Sports, and UFOS Footwear.
We ain't no Cinderella, baby. But I've got my magic slippers. UFOS, baby. Check them out. Getting ready for game 2 tomorrow. Let's get it.
One of the key components of USC sports is its spirit, the people who keep the team and its fans motivated, the Trojan Marching Band. The self-proclaimed greatest marching band in the history of the universe however, practices every week and travels with the team to every game. Members say the schedule can be hectic, but marching band camaraderie makes up for it.
Actually taking a flight with the team, we don't really know what the plans are. Like, nothing's like very solidified until like, you know, the games are like going, or like if we win the game, if we lose the game. The energy of these people, like the heart of, you know, USC being a student at USC, like you're directly connected to the people who are bringing the energy of USC and like the culture, right? So in that way, I feel super like lucky.
Now let's take a look at another part of the USC Spirit Squad, the Trojan Dance Force.
Do the most, but I do a lot. I'm gonna make the toast 'cause we still alive.
USC Spirit Squad can be fiercely competitive. As the first male member of the Trojan Dance Force, Hugo Miller is used to being the center of attention, and he's got the moves to back it up.
And so I think I entered as the first male, understanding that in some ways I was changing tradition. And at USC, which is a place that just loves tradition, I anticipated a bit of dissension from some fans. But for the most part, I've felt extremely accepted.
Miller isn't new to making history. He first began breaking barriers at the age of 12 as the only boy in his ballet class. He started his high school's cheer team and was a 3-year captain. It was there that he first connected with some of USC Women's Basketball stars.
You know, and just on discussing dancing for the women's team, there's an added specialness to it because I actually went to middle school and high school with Juju Watkins and India Otto. And it's such a full circle moment every game, getting to see them absolutely crush it on the court and getting to dance, you know, and cheer them on.
Just as Juju is inspiring the next generation of women in basketball, Miller hopes to encourage more men to try out for the Trojan Dance Force.
Pickle Coleman and Will Simons are rejoining us because we can't leave without getting some predictions. So we'll start with you, Will. Who do you have going to the championship game on the women's side?
Yeah, so just to preface, my bracket's been terrible, so maybe take my predictions with a grain of salt. I'm like dead last in both Annenberg polls. But starting on the women's side, I really believe in USC. I think they're going to get to the national championship game. However, I just don't see how anybody beats South Carolina. They're undefeated. They've been so ridiculously good. I have them winning it all, and I don't think it's really that close.
Yeah, I'm with you, Will. Obviously, as everyone heard, I said USC was going all the way on the women's side. But also, like, I don't want to completely take out LSU and Iowa, who obviously were our final two last year. I absolutely could see one of those two teams being in it as well, but I want to keep USC in there for sure.
I hear you both, but I've got Iowa. They've got the best player in college basketball. Caitlin Clark is going to rain threes, and no one is going to stop her. And on the men's side, I've got Tennessee. I think they have the best player in college basketball in Dalton Connect. That's how I'm feeling.
You know, on the women's side, I really do think we could be looking at a who is the true USC matchup over here. But you guys, for the men's side.
On the men's side, everybody's kind of picking UConn. I'm going a little bit outside the box. I'm still picking a 1 seed. I'm going with Houston. I really like the way they've been playing. Their defense is really, really good. And I think that, you know, I mean, it's obviously a little cliche to say defense wins championships, but I think in some ways they're kind of due to at the very least, make it to the Final Four of the national championship game. I've got them in a Big 12 matchup, beating Iowa State in the national championship game.
Yeah, I mean, my final two, I've got UConn versus Purdue. I know, classic. Everyone picked those two. I'm so original. But I really do think that these teams are both extremely strong, and I see both of them going super far. I don't want to, you know, take out my home state of Illinois, because Illinois has been on fire too, and I could see them doing something, you know, big, or even Clemson, which they're like such a sneaky pick. They just slid their way into the Sweet 16 for like the first time in so long.
Yeah,
so
and I was just watching that game. They're up on Arizona coming down to the wire. So yeah, I'm gonna turn that game back on.
Yeah, we're turning that on right after that.
All right.
Thanks for watching See It Live. From everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Louisa Tripoli.
And I'm Jonathan Martin. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg.